Hey, how are you? I received a great question today from somebody who subscribed to my YouTube channel who likes to submit to me questions, different ideas, different topics for suggested videos. And what the person suggested is, why don't I do a video clip on what do I think are some of the top mistakes that young professionals and recent college graduates make when they're coming out and they're trying to get their career and their life in order. What are some of the biggest mistakes, or what is the number one biggest mistake? So obviously, trying to rely on your resume to get a job, that's a no. That's a no-no. If you think you're going to get a job because you have a nice resume, that is not going to be enough. You have to go look at some of my other videos on that, on tricks and tips to get yourself a job in the real world. That's number one. Number two, thinking you went to a great college or school, that is definitely not enough to get you a job. You could be unemployed and broke with your very fancy diploma and owing money on your student loans, okay? That's two. But I'll tell you a third one, and I like to focus in on that. And that is that I see a lot of young professionals, recent college students, people coming into the workforce. I see them beginning to focus on something. It's a job, it's an idea, it's a product they're trying to sell, it's a specific area where they're trying to gain some success. They start, they get some results, they're not fully happy with it, they don't think it's enough, it's big enough, so they stop and then they move on to something else, okay? So a person might get involved in fundraising, or a person might get involved in sales, or in some kind of consultative service, in a consultative role or something like that. And you start, you get some clients, you get a little bit of money, it's not enough, and you go, you know what, the idea's broken, there's not enough interest, you move on to the next thing. And they do this again and again and again. They start something, they give it a try, get some results, not enough, and then they stop. And I see this happen again and again and again. It's an extremely common thing. It's a very common problem. It's an enormous mistake, because if you really want to get somewhere in life, you have to pick a spot, dig in, and grow. What if you want to become successful, you oftentimes in life have to take something that starts small, it's okay to start small, and nurture it and build it up. Okay? So for example, when I started the Jewish Executive Learning Network a couple years ago, at the first Torah class that I gave, I only had 10 men there. So you could say, only 10 men, wow, you had 10 men, but I had 10 men there at the class. So some people would say, wait, you tried putting together a class, only 10 men came, didn't work, it's not right, it's not good, it's not enough, it's not going to be, do something else. But I said to myself, hey, I got 10 today. How many can we get next week? Maybe there's 100 who are interested. And when we finally got 100, I said, wow, maybe we could add even more zeros to it. And thank God, only 4 years later, we have up to 50,000 people a week accessing the content that we're putting out into the world and into the marketplace. But if I had stopped when I only had 10 to begin with, how are you? If I had stopped when I only had 10 to begin with, then what would have happened? Then I would have moved on to something else and something else. So a lot of mistakes people make coming out into the workforce, but what you really, really need to do is just key in, lock in, and make sure that if you're picking something that seems smart, seems juicy, seems like a good opportunity, key in on it and don't stop just because you're getting results, but they're not big enough yet. A lot of times you start digging in a spot, you find some gold, but it's not all the gold, you quit. Don't do that. I think that's an enormous mistake. And the truth is, it's not just a mistake for students and young professionals. It's something that I see people of all ages do in life. So anyway, I hope that was helpful to you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share this clip with others if you think it'll be useful to them, because it's words of truth, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks. Bye.